Hello, DLG viewers and listeners. This is the Iceman with this week's version of Perspectives from the Edge. According to a recent article on churchleaders.com, less than 20% of Americans attend church on a regular basis. Studies in various communities across the U.S. indicate the number is really closer to 17%, which is down roughly 3% from 2004. So, Gallup reports, if you read Gallup, they report that 40% of Americans attend church regularly. So why would there be a difference? Well, people tend to report that they do things that are socially acceptable. For instance, if I were to ask you, do you recycle? You may lean toward saying yes because it's socially acceptable to recycle and unacceptable not to recycle. So you may report that you do. It's the same with religion. But what these figures point to is something a little bit more interesting if you dig down deep and look at the numbers. I know, for instance, local churches that do mission work in foreign countries and around the United States. And they provide the manpower, the finances, and the supplies for mission trips, whether that be drilling wells in Guatemala, building livestock pens in Peru, or bridges across creeks to get livestock from one field to another. It's as simple as that, and you would think, well, wow, why can't the people there do that? Well, it's expensive to do that kind of stuff, and when you have nothing, you can't get something with nothing. So, if numbers are declining at churches, and fewer people are going on mission trips, and fewer people are participating in mission trips, what happens to those people that have a need out there in the U.S. and the community? Well, up until a year ago, I had never heard this term before, social impact tourism. And I thought, what on earth is social impact tourism? So I did a little bit of research and came across various articles talking about people who take, for lack of a better term, vacations to places to do, in a sense, mission work. And I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. But think about it. If you're not affiliated with the humanitarian aid organization or World Relief or any of these other big things, and you don't attend church, but you have a desire to do something good somewhere, how do you do it? Well, in steps social impact tourism. And I find it fascinating because I have to admit I was a skeptic about it. Last year, Carnival Cruise Lines announced that it was going to start a new cruise line, and it wasn't going to be a cruise line for the uber wealthy or the elite of cruising, or even those that want to take a booze cruise and drink a lot and have a good time, or, just the typical kind of cruise activities. This was going to be something very different. It's called Fathom, and what Fathom does is they do social impact touring. And I was a skeptic, I admit, because I know how much cruises cost, and I thought, why on earth would I pay that to go do something well? But I decided to read up on it and become an informed person on the whole matter, and I started to do some research. And one of the things I found is that the president of Fathom Tours is a woman by the name of Tara Vargas Russell, and she's quite an amazing lady if you read back at her, you read her history. She was with Nike, she was with General Motors, she was with Intel, so the lady knows her stuff. She's got great business sense. But then you look at what she's done outside of the business world. She started a foundation called Create Common Good that taught refugees and other people in need how to grow food. Now, you would think, well, how does that help? Well, first, it gives them a skill because they can grow food. And it closes the gap because now they have a source of food for themselves and their families. So it was very empowering for them. She also created a foundation called Nightlight International that helped out underprivileged and at-risk women in Thailand. And I think that's pretty amazing because when we think of what happens to women in some countries, it's rather frightening, particularly in Thailand. So I think this is, she knows what she's doing when it comes to social impact. So early reviews from Fathom Cruisers indicate that not only, it's kind of weird because you would think that empowering people would mean the people they're working with. But I think what I've gathered from the reviews is that the people taking the cruises and the vacations are coming home feeling way more empowered than the people they may have been helping, in a sense. Because I've read some tweets and some posts where people have now seen what can be done when people work together and they set aside the I'm too good for that, or I can't make a difference. And now they're returning to their communities, looking at their community under a microscope and saying, if I can do that in the Dominican Republic or Cuba, what could I do in my own community? So the one of the things that could be happening as a result of this is that people return to a community with a stronger sense of that they can make a difference. And I think that's truly what's important, is because I'm a strong believer in that you can make a difference if you want to. And that's the key. You have to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, well, then it's not going to happen. And sitting in your living room on your couch complaining about it isn't going to do any good either. If you see a problem in your community and you have the means to help solve it, even if it means going to a rescue mission and sorting through dirty clothes to find ones that could be cleaned and given to people for job interviews, or just feeling like they're human in a nice set of clean clothes, then why not dedicate 3-4 hours a month or more? Who knows? If we all kind of looked at the world the way Miss Russell has, we could be making a pretty big difference. Now, I'm not, by all means, I'm not one of these people that's going to go out and start my own foundation and do amazing things, but in my own small way, I want to be able to help the community in which I live as well as other communities, because it really, you may not see it, but what happens in other parts of the world does affect more than just that part of the world. We're a global community. We're attached at the hip with the internet and 24-hour news cycles and the ability to travel anywhere we want within a matter of time. I can hop a plane and in less than a day I can be in Sydney, Australia. And it just wasn't that way not all that long ago. So we kind of owe it not just to ourselves and our own communities, but the rest of the world to be good global citizens, if you will. That doesn't mean I think you should go out and quit your job and donate all your money to a charitable cause or something. But if you can do, please try and do. Give it a shot. I mean, I'm just seeing what these people are saying coming back from these Fathom cruises, and I'm blown away with, what I'm seeing, and I'm very impressed that, they see things differently now. If you want to follow some of their stories, follow the hashtag TravelDeep on Twitter. You can also follow Fathom on Twitter, and read their stories. And if that doesn't change how you look, and this is not an advertisement for Fathom Cruises, believe me. It just happens to be that I love cruising, and I've been researching the topic, and I do follow that hashtag just to see, what people are saying about it, because I admit I was a skeptic at first, but I think they might be onto something. They might be onto something there, and I can't wait to see what the future brings for social impact tourism, giving people who otherwise might not get involved in something a chance to do some good in the world. So, when I taught, I used to leave my kids with a challenge at the end of every day. It might be go home and do something for your family that they might not expect you to do. Jokingly I said, like, clean your room or, be polite. But, I'm going to challenge you today to look at your community and find an organization out there that you think you can help some way. A group that you think you can do some good for. For me, I'm involved in Boy Scouts. I love Boy Scouts. I was a Cub Scout, never made it to Boy Scouts, but I love what they do. I love what they do for young men. I'm also a big fan of the Girl Scouts. I think what they do for young women is just amazing stuff. So I'm into scouting. What are you going to be into? What difference are you going to make? When all is said and done, are people going to look at you and say, wow, what a great person. He was truly successful in life. Or she was truly successful in life. Or are they going to look at you and go, wow, they gave of themselves when they could. So your challenge is to go out and find an organization that you think you can help. And use the hashtag community service. And let me know. I'm at TapeyK on Twitter. And look for my blog next week, hopefully in video form. And again, the full transcript of my article will be on our Facebook page, and I'll see if I can post it on the YouTube video page. And until next time, peace out, folks.